Hey YouTube, Matt and Roy back again. Well, today I thought we'd do a upgrade video on my Windows 2000 HP Pavilion. I've really been getting into PlayStation 1 games, emulation on this computer. I've been downloading a lot of ISOs or image files, and I'm starting to fill up this 80 gigabyte hard drive pretty quickly. So I also have a 40 gig drive on there, but the way I've been downloading these files recently, it's not going to last very long. So I came across this. This is a Maxtor DiamondMax 10 160 gigabyte parallel ATA hard drive, in other words IDE drive. I picked this up at a thrift store the other day, gave a few bucks for it, really nothing, hardly anything at all. When I first tested the drive out, it did not work properly. It had a corrupt operating system on it, which in turn corrupted some of the sectors on the hard drive. I was really bummed out because I was hoping this would be a good drive. So in a last-ditch effort, I ran a utility I have called Disk Doctor. And I was able to go ahead and repair the drive. And then I went into SpeedFan, which has a hard drive testing utility. And the hard drive now tests 100%. So thank God it wasn't anything major. It was just some corrupted sectors on the drive, which were repairable. So again, in this video, we're going to go ahead and install this drive in the HP. So I'll be back with you guys in just a few minutes. Alright, I'm back. Now that I got the HP out, we're going to go ahead and pop the cover off. I know I've showed you guys inside this computer before, but I figured this was something pretty interesting. Alright, and here's the inside of my HP Pavilion 2000 model desktop. It was made in the year 2000. The actual model number on this is a Pavilion 8679F, if you guys want to look that up. Now, unfortunately, I can't just pull the two screws out and remove this, because I'm going to have to take out the 40 gigabyte hard drive here. There's just not enough room. So what I'm actually going to have to do, there's one of two things I could do. The proper way to do this would be to take the whole front bezel off, unscrew this whole bracket here, and pull the whole thing out. But I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just unscrew, let me turn it so you guys can see this, the back edge of this. This is actually where the CPU fan and the power supply are mounted. If I take these two screws out of the way, it'll go ahead and fold down. Move that. And I have to unplug the CPU fan because it'll pull out. And you want to take it easy with this. I'm going to have to unplug the top CD drive, but that'll pull right out of the way. And as you can see, move this over a little bit so you can see better. There we go. This is the hard drive I'm going to be replacing. Now, I don't know if in a previous video I showed you guys how I did this. I kind of had to finagle this in here because this system is really only made to handle one hard drive. But like with anything else, if you have enough perseverance, you can go ahead and make it work. So what I need to do is get my special bit. It's a Torx bit. These are the only screws I had that would work with this. So I'll be back in just a minute with the correct bit. And here's the bit that I was looking for. It is just a regular Torx bit. I don't know what the size is, but I needed to take these two screws out right here. And I will be using the trusty Skill IX02. Now, because this hard drive is not supported by anything on the other side, I'm going to have to take all of these cables off so I have better access to it. These are the two IDE cables for the CD DVD drive. I'm going to pull the power cable off too. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the ID and the power cable from the old hard drive as well. Alright. And as you can see, if you look on the other side here, I don't know how well the camera picks that up, but it's not supported by anything at all. But because these are heavy duty screws, you can see I'm pulling on it and it's not going anywhere. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and hold this drive up with one hand because I'm afraid it's just going to fall. And this is a good hard drive, so I don't want to wreck it. Go ahead and take these screws out. That's one. And two. And then the hard drive will just pull out right there. Now, next thing I want to do is make sure that I have the jumper set right. This is the old hard drive, just to show you. It's a Samsung 40 gigabyte model SP0411N. Now this drive does have a few bad sectors on it, but I've run all the hard drive checks. Other than that, mechanically it's sound. So I'm going to keep this, maybe use it as a backup drive, possibly for my compact later on. So let's go ahead and check. Right now, if I'm looking at the pinout back here, see the two middle pins are jumpers are set. So that means it is set to cable select. So I need to put this out of the way and take the Maxtor drive and double check that that drive is also set to cable select. And as you can see, the jumper is to the far left here. So I look at the legend up here. Far left is master, so no, it is not set properly. According to this, I need to bring it over one, which would be the cable select enabled. So I just take my fingers. This one you can do that. You pull out the little jumper there, and in this case I'm going to move it over one set, just like that. Now I'm ready to go ahead and put the drive back into the computer. Now this one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to have to see how it'll fit in there. I'm going to go ahead and gently put it back in place. Now, it's a little tricky. I'm going to have to try to get a couple of these finger tight. If that's not possible, I might have to shut the camera off. So bear with me just for a second, guys. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it started on the drill here. Go and hold that up so it doesn't fall off. Going to get the hard drive placed, and very carefully, there we go. Going to go ahead and put the first one in. I can go ahead and do the same thing with the second one. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you put a lot of tension on this because you don't want it to slip and hurt and strip out the screws just like that. But I didn't let it go in too far, so these screws are still pretty good. Now once it's screwed in, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of pressure on here. I want to make sure it is secure, and yeah, that hard drive is definitely not going anywhere. Can't wait. Now we're going to have a 160 gigabyte hard drive installed on this computer. It's going to let me do a lot more than I was able to before. Now, the next thing we have to do here is connect all this mess back up. So, hard drive cable. And you want to be easy with this because you want to make sure you don't bend any pins. I've done that with many hard drives in the past. Even pressure is usually the best thing. I don't know if that's going in or not. Pretty sure that's in. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and put the power back on here. Now next thing we got to do is hook these CD drives back up. We got the, let me see if I can turn this a little bit better so you can get a better view. I'm going to plug this one in. This is the secondary DVD CD burner, and then this top one's a primary. This one's just a CD burner up here. hard to see. Unfortunately, to give you guys this extra light, it actually impedes me a little bit because it's hard to see where to put it in. But I got it. Now, next thing I want to do is plug the power back into both of these for the DVD CD burner. Remember, when you put these in, go easily at first, but if it don't be afraid to use a little bit of extra force. You don't want to push too hard because you could break the circuit board. Now, the very next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and plug this back into the motherboard, this CPU fan. And this is a little tricky. Got it. Usually takes me a couple more tries to do that, everybody. So, luckily, I'm getting used to it. Okay. I just realized my mistake. This is going to actually have to be plugged up. You can wiggle it a little bit. That won't hurt it. This is going to have to be plugged up here. So, let me do this first. I'll plug this one in here. And because the cable's longer, I have to plug that one up here. And it's very hard to do it at this angle. Alright, and there we go. She is all installed. So next thing I have to do is shut this. This can be a bit of a pain because it's on a hinge and the hinge gets stuck sometimes like it is right now. Let's see if we can get this through. Alright. Alright, and I will go ahead and be back once everything is hooked up. Alright, before I put the hook the computer back up, I thought I'd show you some of the changes I've made back here. This is the back of the HP computer. There's the model number again. If anybody's interested, you can pause the video. Up here we have the PS2 keyboard and mouse, 2 USB 1.1, serial, the built-in VGA, and the parallel. That hasn't changed, but down here in the expansion slots I've added some goodies. This was in there before. This is the 10100 Ethernet card, so I can get onto my network. I think this one's actually a gigabit, but I only run a 100 base network here. This is new up here. I put in a 4-port USB 2.0 card. I believe this particular one's a Belkin. And this has really helped me out because I have a couple MP3 players I like to use to transfer files to, use this computer for. And with the 1.1, it was just painfully slow. So this has helped a lot. I also have the audio ports here, and then the new VGA card. Alright, we're ready for the first boot with the new hard drive. First thing I'm going to do is get into the BIOS and make sure everything's hooked up properly. And there you go. Only problem is for some reason it's not detecting one of my CD drives. My primary CD burner is not being detected. It's okay, the cable I must not put the cable on all the way. But it is detecting the Western Digital hard drive and the Maxtor hard drive. So that is very good. I'm not too worried about the CD drive. I'll go ahead and fix that later on. Let's go ahead and save changes and exit. And let's go ahead and boot up with our new hard drive installed. Now this is installed as a slave hard drive. My primary hard drive is the Western Digital 80 gigabyte, and I am going to keep that as the boot drive. This one's going to act just like a data drive. Windows 2000 always takes a little bit longer to boot up when you've just added a new hardware device. There you go, starting Windows 2000 Professional. Love that retro Windows 2000 sound. Alright, let's go into my computer. Okay, gotta give it a minute. It hasn't found the new hardware yet. Looks like I'm going to have to go into Control Panel and to Administrative Tools. I don't think this hard drive has been initialized. So we need to go to Administrative Tools, Computer Management, and we have to go to Disk Management. And as you can see, it's actually just found that new hard drive. So I'm going to click Next. Disk 1, yep, it's the only disk I've added, so we know that's the right one. Click Next. Yep, Disk 1. Okay, finish here. Okay, there we go. Disk 0 is my main 80 gigabyte hard drive, and of course Disk 1 is the new 160 gigabyte hard drive, which Windows can only see 149 gigabytes. Okay, now that disk has been initialized, I got to go ahead and format it. So I'll right click on Disk 1, left click Create Volume, got to click Next. Simple volume, that's fine, that's all I can make anyway. And right here, yep, Disk 1, we're going to set it up as using the entire amount, which is that right there, which is like 152 gigabytes, almost 153. So we'll click Next. Assign it the letter D. That's fine. I prefer it to be the D drive. Let's see. We're going to format this NTFS, and we are going to give it a name here. This is going to be Data. Oh, sorry guys. Data and Gaming. That's right, we can't do it as much. So we're just going to call this the gaming drive. Just put in gaming there. And I am going to perform a quick format because this drive has just been low-level formatted. So there's no reason to go ahead through that long process. No compression, so we'll click Next. And we'll click Finish. Now that's just going to go ahead and format it real quick. As you can see, it's showing it as a healthy partition. Right now it's formatting. It shouldn't take very long. And it'll turn blue as soon as the formatting's done. At least it should. Okay. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Because this is a simple volume and not a primary partition, it is going to stay green. So it looks like we are all set. And as you can see, I now have a drive D with 149 gigabytes available. So the first thing I'm going to do, just kind of as a test, and I want this on there anyway, I'm going to go ahead and copy my PlayStation 1 emulator to this drive. So we'll go here, and the folder right there is PS1, so I'm going to right click on that, copy, go back, and now right click on the D drive, which I just created, and paste. I'll close that. And as you can see, it's copying everything from the C drive to the D drive that was in that folder. Again, this is my PlayStation 1 emulator. It's right there, EPLSS SXE.exe. This is the best player that I've found so far, and they're very easy. This will let you play any PlayStation 1 game. You can actually put the physical game into your CD drive and play it that way, but it tends to be a little bit slow. So what I've been doing is using image burn and making an image of my my PlayStation 1 CDs on the hard drive and then playing the game from the hard drive. And it's much better. There's not nearly as much glitching that way. And if you're interested in these, all you have to do is Google PS1 emulator, and there are tons of websites. I believe I got this one off it's called the Emulation Zone. So if you're interested, Google Emulation Zone, and they have everything you'll ever need there. They have the emulators, so you can play the games. They have image files, ROMs, in other words, the games themselves. Pretty much any PlayStation game you want, you could get downloaded there. Now, I'm not a proponent of stealing games, so the only thing I would say is, as long as you own the game and you just want to get it downloaded quickly, then you can download the game. But if you don't physically own the game, I do not recommend downloading it, because that is illegal. And as you can see, this is going to have another 3 minutes or so. But I would call that success, guys. So now we have an extra 160 gigabyte hard drive in here, and then we have the 80 gigabyte. So we have a total of, what was that, 240 gigabytes, which is more than I will ever need with this system. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. Like and subscribe. And until next time, have a blessed day, everybody.